podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
No brakes, no brakes, no fear, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along to another episode of British Speedway's official podcast, No Brakes, No Fear. Coming up, we've got reaction from Monday's clashes in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership as the Belle Vue Aces took the Birmingham Brummies to a last heat decider.
RR's a difficult one, especially for one of your top riders, and 4 heats to get 7's all right, but it's, Dan's the one we want in heat 15 to win the races with me, so it's that's when you miss him the most.
More from Brady, Kurtz to come. We also hear from fast Freddie Lindgren.
Today we didn't start this meeting the way we needed to. We got, I think, 2 5-1s against in the first 2 heats, and it was an uphill battle after that.
We've also got reaction from the Adrian Flux Arena after the Kings Lynn Stars defeated the Sheffield Tigers. And from last week, we hear from Peter Schrock after the Tigers defeated the Oxford Cheetahs, including the aggregate bonus point right at the end. And we hear from Matt Sajanowski. Our main guest this week is also an Oxford rider. In fact, he's a triple Oxford rider. He rides for all 3 teams. He is Luke Killeen.
Yeah, it's crazy for me to think that, still a teenager without, pumping my own tyres up, still a teenager, and I get to race people that I watched as a kid. It's obviously not at their level, but it's nice to be alongside them at the start line. Captain
of the Oxford Chargers in the National League, also racing for the Oxford Cheetahs and now the Oxford Spires in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. More from Luke Killeen to come. We'll also look ahead to the fixtures coming up in the week ahead, all on British Speedway's official podcast.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along, and we'll start at Perry Barr, where Belle Vue held on for their second away win of the season to boost their ROWE Motor Oil Premiership playoff push as they triumphed 46-44 in a last heat decider over Birmingham. The Aces raced to an 8-point lead early at Perry Barr after just 2 races, a 38-28 advantage with 4 heats remaining before the Brummies then fought back. The home side reduced the deficit to 4 points heading into the last race, but Aces skipper Brady Kurtz crucially split Freddie, Lindgren and Tom Brennan to get the visitors over the line. Kurtz was outstanding with 15 plus 1 bonus from 6 rides, despite 2 heavy crashes in the initial stagings of Heat 1, whilst Norick Bladorn, who got 9, won 3 races. Lindgren and Brennan both scored 10 plus 1 for the Brummies. Let's get some reaction from the fixture then at Perry Barr on Monday night. And first of all, let's hear from top scorer of the Belle Vue Aces, Brady Kurtz.
We definitely needed a win. I think it was kind of a place where you come to and we were expected to win, and we definitely needed to, but it was no easy feat. They've got a pretty decent side now, and they're all pretty good at home, and without Dan was a tough job. We definitely missed him tonight in the big races, and hopefully he can be back soon and we can really push on for the rest of the year.
Yeah, you missed Dan tonight. You still managed to get 7 points from his rides, a couple of race wins in there as well. But to say you did get that away win without Dan as well, that's credit to the rest of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. All the boys chipped in. It's RR's a difficult one, especially for one of your top riders, and 4 heats to get 7's all right, but it's, Dan's the one we want in heat 15 to win the races with me, so it's that's when you miss him the most. But good performance from all the boys, and few more big matches coming up, and we really need to get dialed in for the playoffs.
Yeah, we know Birmingham eventually came back to take it to that last heat decider as well, but to open with 2 5-1 maximums, just how important was that for the belief in the team tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. We needed to start off strong, and we did that. Kept it alive the whole time, and it was a tough match for everyone.
And for yourself, 15 paid 16. You've got to be happy with how you've come back from injury.
Yeah, absolutely. I think things have been going great for me this year. The bikes have been unreal. The guys in the pits are doing a fantastic job. Everything's spot on, and when the bikes are good, my job's easy. So things are going well.
Brady, congratulations to you in the Aces tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, not an easy fixture going into that one, of course, without Dan Bewley, and they ran rider replacement to cover his rides, which was potentially seen as a bit of a gamble, but one that paid off, and the Belle Vue Aces march on in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. It was, though, a nervous end with a last heat decider. I spoke to a relieved Mark Lemon afterwards.
Oh, well, it's always nice to get a win on the road, that's for sure, and it sort of bolsters your playoff chances and opportunities. Like I said, it could have been a banana skin moment for our boys, using rider replacement when the away form hasn't been great, but some of them stepped up to the plate, which is good to see, and it bodes well for the remaining matches.
solid all-round performance. I think a mention too to the new recruits, Jake Mulford and Antti Vulas, chipping in with vital points as it's turned out, because he went down to the 2 points in it at the end.
Yeah, like I said, we got off to a really good start, and then obviously that was contributing to their efforts early on. And Anti's like he's never been to this place before, never seen half the tracks in the UK, and so he's going to have to learn pretty quick. And it's a baptism of fire come for the premiership for him. But he seems quite capable. Seems really willing to listen and work with the team, and he's just fitting in really nicely. So good little unit we've got going here at the moment. Like I said, it's kind of like coming to that crunch end of the season, and you need to start stepping it up. So obviously we really like to have Dan back with us, but in his absence, I think the boys have done tremendous.
Hopefully Dan will be back very soon. It was just the 9 days out, I think, wasn't it, for him? So nothing too severe beyond that. And you keep obviously the pressure up now on Ipswich with another win on the board. Sheffield has slipped up tonight. It's hotting up in the playoff places.
Yeah, not too focused on what anyone else done. The way it's going to do, first place, fourth, second place, third, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you got to get to the semi-final and knock that team out and get to the grand final. We've been there. Like last year, we were the best team by far, come to the playoffs, and it just didn't work, obviously, with injuries that happened at the wrong particular time. So you've always got that in the back of your mind. You just want to keep these boys happy and safe and keep motoring on. But tonight's like this, I think credit goes to Birmingham. I think they put a really gutsy effort in. But obviously, we just got to get over the line in the end.
Happy drive home tonight on the M6 anyway.
Yeah, much better than the one down here, put it that way. So yeah, at least hopefully it's no stops, no roadworks.
Belle Vue team manager Mark Lemon. Well, what about the Birmingham Brummies? Well, despite their best efforts and running the Aces close, they lost once again, making it 8 successive defeats for the Birmingham Brummies, all told. Let's hear from the number one and captain on the night, Freddie Lindgren.
Well, Freddie Lindgren, it's another frustrating night for the Birmingham Brummies, missing out in a last heat decider for the second week running.
Yeah, definitely. Today we didn't start this meeting the way we needed to. We got, I think, 2 5-1s against in the first 2 heats, and it was an uphill battle after that. We all gave our best, but again, wasn't enough. So disappointing.
Like you say, it was 10 points down going into the interval as well. So to turn it around and provide that late comeback, a valiant effort from that point of view. But like you say, need the team to get off to much stronger starts going forward.
Yeah, we definitely need to start better. Myself as well, running a 5-1 against in heat 1 is not good enough. So no, we still frustrating times for us, but hopefully we can get it to win soon.
I was going to say, we know it's obviously deflating when you keep losing meetings like the Brummies are doing at the minute, but nevertheless, if you look at the positives, you've taken 2 strong sides to 2 last heat deciders. Are there some positives the team can build going into a busy August?
Oh, definitely. I mean, especially the Sheffield match, I think we showed a lot of character, never gave up. Today, I feel we could have done a little bit better, but all the boys are doing the best they can. It's not like we're not trying. We're doing absolutely everything we can, but it's just not clicking for us at the moment. And we're kind of in this downward spiral, and sometimes it's hard to get out of it.
Yeah, and 3 away meetings now before the next fixture here at Perry Bar. Oxford, Belle Vue, then Leicester. So obviously you've raced at Belle Vue in the Speedway of Nations, but Oxford and Leicester, it's going to be another lesson for you, reminding you of those circuits. Oxford, certainly a new adventure.
Yeah, no, I look forward to it. It's 3 away games, 3 new challenges. I haven't been to Oxford for many years, and I look forward to check out how it is down there.
Freddie, many thanks for speaking to us.
Thank you.
This will make you feel old. Last time that Freddie Lindgren rode at Oxford was in July 2006, which is over a year before Ashton Bowden was born in 2007. Incidentally, though, it was an away win on the night for Wolves when they last visited, and Freddie Lindgren had a pretty decent evening. Well, let's hear from Tom Brennan. He was 5 when Freddie last rode at Oxford Stadium. He's been reflecting on the action on Monday night against his former side, the Belle Vue Aces, with Mike Taylor from BBC Radio WM.
Tom, that was close again. Second week running that you've taken it to a last heat decider, and it made up a lot of ground in the second half of that meeting.
Yeah, I actually didn't even know it was a last heat decider then at all, until we come over the line and I see Brady do the big fist pump, and I was like, oh no, maybe that was the position. But it was close. We obviously gave it all, everything we had, but they obviously just had it towards the end there.
Yeah, I mean, it was an 8-point deficit from early on. He's a lot to overcome, but the team didn't give up.
No, exactly. We're obviously fighting. Things have been a little bit up and down for us with injuries with Sedgy now, and obviously Palmtoff coming in. So, things are changing around, and it's always pretty difficult to kind of manage that, especially from Chris and Sam's point of view. So everybody's sort of gelling together now. We had actually a pretty good meeting last week. Kind of we all got together, and from that point onwards, everything feels a bit better. But as you can see, we're kind of getting there and there again, and we just need everything to click again.
You look closer to your best form tonight.
Yeah, I've been off it a little bit. You know, I've been. I think it's just a little bit of overriding, really. I mean, I've been really, really busy middle of the year there. I mean, it was what May and July especially were. I mean, even before then was just hectic for me, and I didn't have any time off, and I was coming to every meeting a little bit blurred every time, and then it got to a point where I was trying to override myself, and we've had a few weeks since then to kind of calm down and kind of relax and find my feet, and I mean, now we sort of seem to be back to where we were, so we can start kicking on from now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a rhythm of the meetings now. I think you've got 3 aways in succession, but it's back to Monday, Thursday in the Premiership, as well as all your other commitments, and you've got Cardiff to come in the next few weeks, which is, I mean, that's exciting for you. Nice to be hitting a bit of form again. Yeah,
brilliant. We now also have Sweden too, so we're in Sweden tomorrow, which is also another step, and we're obviously trying our best, right? We also have Cardiff coming up, which is just something that kind of I actually can't comprehend right now. It still sort of feels like a dream. So I'm sure it'll definitely smack me in the face when I rock up there. But no, really excited, and if I can ride like I can tonight, and I know my points weren't particularly fantastic, but I felt like I gave it 110%, and I can kind of leave here happy today.
And we'll hear more from Tom Brennan a little later on with his Pool Pirates hat on, because they had a great weekend last weekend. More on that to come. Right now, let's hear from the assistant manager of the Birmingham Brummies, Chris Adams. I caught up with him and reflecting, first of all, on how it could have been so different, taking the Belle Vue Aces to a last heat decider, but it wasn't to be.
The damage was done right from the beginning, really, with starting off with 2-5-1, so he was straight on the back foot. But you know, they dug deep, they brought it back, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough.
What was the issue tonight, do you think? Were the riders maybe just struggling to get to grips with the track? It was, of course, fairly wet early on, caught 1 or 2 riders out. Maybe Brady Kurtz found himself in the fence the first earlier heats, but things settled down as you went.
Well, I think they've struggled all season, really, but we haven't really had the same 1 to 7. So we've got different riders coming in and out, and they're trying to get used to the track, but there's no excuses really. You can't take it away from Belle Vue. They hit us hard straight away, and we just found it difficult to come back from that.
Next up, we're following you on the road. You're heading to Oxford, which obviously they've got their mission. They're trying to get into the playoffs themselves. It'll be a tough task, but maybe you can get yourself an away win there.
Well, hopefully, never say never. Certainly, I mean, we felt that we could do damage everywhere we've been this year, so it's somewhere where we know that we can win, but we just got to pull it out the bag on the day.
Well, at the Adrian Flux Arena, the other fixture on Monday night involved the Kings Lynn Stars and the Sheffield Tigers, and Kings Lynn put in an impressive home performance to defeat defending ROWE Motor Oil Premiership champions Sheffield 51-39. The Tigers unbeaten in their previous 6 league visits to Norfolk since rejoining the top flight, but never recovered from going 10 points down inside the first 5 races. Guest Richard Lawson led the way for the Stars, scoring 12. Jan Kvek on 11+1. Skipper Niels Christian Everson also adding 9 plus 3 bonus points. Chris Holder scored an impressive 13+1 for the Tigers, and he really was the high point as far as Sheffield were concerned. We can hear, though, from the Kings Lynn boss, Rob Lyon, speaking to Andy Abbott of BBC Radio Norfolk.
Well, Rob Lyon, birthday yesterday and a good win today. You must be pretty delighted over the last 2 days.
Yeah, it was nice to get a win tonight. I mean, yeah, we were able to get some good boys in tonight, and both of them did a really good job for us, and shows when we've got a full team, or nearly full team, we're a match for anyone around here really, but that's the frustrating part. But yeah, great result, and we push on and to the next one.
You've always said to me the important thing when you're a team manager, you want to see your riders have few last places as possible, and that was certainly true tonight.
Yeah, that's right, and yeah, they rode well as a team, and we didn't really have any what I call major weak links, if I'm honest, and that's important and solid all the way through, so that's good.
I mean, is that just proof what could have been if you hadn't done these injuries?
Exactly. We know that. We've always said at the start of the season the team we put together was capable of getting the playoffs, and I think we keep proving every now and again when we actually manage to field a decent side. To fill these places, it's showing exactly that.
I mean, for the likes of Jankovic and Patrick Vadewu, we're having to go to Ipswich on Thursday night, completely different track. It's going to be a real tough ask, isn't it?
Well, it is, yeah. I mean, and again, we're trying to find guests for that meeting. Belle Vue are the only team not racing, so it's tricky, but we'll do our best.
News on Benjamin Basso, he's having a practice at the weekend. He'll be back next week.
Yeah, he's having a practice Thursday in Poland, so we'll see how he feels and we'll go from there.
So, the Kings Lynn Stars lowering the colours of the Sheffield Tigers, who up until that point had been on a good run, of course, because last week they closed the gap at the top of the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership with maximum points, getting the win on the night and the aggregate right at the end over the Oxford Spires. It ended at Oleton 50-40, a third victory in the space of a week for the Tigers, who were taken down to the wire for the aggregate point and then clinched it in Heat 15. They needed a 3-3 from that race, but went slightly better with Chris Holder winning the race and his brother Jack passing Chris Harris for third to bag a 4-2. Chris Holder kept up his strong Oleton form, 14+2, whilst Jack scored 11+1. Josh Pickering collecting 12 as the home side covered Ty Woofenden's injury absence with rider replacement. Matt Janowski, top scorer for the Oxford Spires. Chris Harris also in pretty good form as well, adding 10. But it's getting tight for those playoff places. Let's hear from the Oxford team manager, Peter Schrock, with Ryan Guest.
Another frustrating night in a way, because for the second time this week, missing out on the aggregate point in Heat 15. What are your immediate thoughts after tonight's fixture?
Yeah, I mean, I can't even say I'm disappointed, because all the boys gave it their all to come here, with just 6 points. We've done really well tonight, to be quite honest, and everybody got stuck in, everybody done their job, the tactical stuff worked, but unfortunately Rowan had a very unusual night for him, blowing his engine up, and so obviously that didn't help, so that was the build-up of where he couldn't get the thing going. So we'll have to take that one on the chin and just have to brush ourselves off and go again.
Sheffield got those 3-5-1s heats 8, 9 and 10 as well, which obviously made a massive difference. But when you looked around the home side of the pits after heat 7, you could tell you'd certainly shell-shocked them somewhat.
Yeah, I saw Steady's face as well, they didn't expect what we were doing, and we done it right till the end, we came back, we didn't give up, we just kept fighting, and it's unfortunately this is what happens sometimes. They're all quality riders and they can all beat each other, so you've got to have that little bit of luck sometimes, and we run out in Heat 15, so be it.
We've just spoken to Magic for the BSP social media channels as well. He says there's no pressure, but from the management side, do you feel like the pressure is starting to build now? Because obviously Leicester on a good run of form, starting to close that gap on fourth place. And like you say, aggregate points are where you're just slipping up at the moment.
I would say we're under pressure. We never forget where we've been. This is our first season in this league, and we're holding our own. We're still fourth at the moment, I believe. So we just got to keep pushing on. And Leicester, they might have a good form, but so have we. But sometimes you have that little bit of luck. Today we didn't have the luck, so I don't wish Leicester nothing bad. But if they can get a little bit of bad luck as well, who knows what's going to happen? So we don't feel like we're under pressure, I mean, we're really enjoying where we are in this league, and we keep pushing on and we're building for the future. So, if it's not meant to be this year, it's not meant to be. We just take it each day as it comes, keep pushing on, and like I always say, if it's meant to be and we should be in the playoffs, we will be in there, but it won't be for the lack of trying, that's for sure.
Peter Schrock, the team manager of the Oxford Spires. Let's hear from their top scorer last Thursday, Matt Janowski, also chatting with Ryan Guest.
Matt Janowski, it's another frustrating night for Oxford, because the team seemed to be in it all the way and then just missed out on that extra aggregate point in Heat 15.
I will not say it's frustrating. We've been fighting till last hit, and the better team win. And that's it. We do our best, and was not enough today.
To say Sheffield are obviously the champions and in form, though, as a team you came here and put up a good fight.
Yeah, from the beginning we find some good setups, but was not enough for Sheffield team tonight, and congrats for them, and it is how it is.
Yeah, and for the team, a bit of pressure coming now because obviously Leicester keep picking up points, and the race really is on for that 4th spot in the playoffs in the table.
No pressure. We will do our best, and I hope this is going to be enough to get the playoffs.
Well, it's great to see you so relaxed. You've come here tonight and scored 12, paid 13 on your second visit. When you go to these British tracks for a second time, are you finding it a little bit more comfortable?
After every race is better for me, you know. After every race, I feel more comfortable, feel really good on the bike. But I hope it's going to work that way. Every second race is going to be better. This is, you know, a really tough place, tough for the setup. But from the beginning, my bike was working good. To be honest, like we've been changing all night something, but it was working good, so it was okay for me.
Magic, well done tonight, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Elsewhere in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership last week, Ipswich collected their 6th away win of the season with a 49-41 victory at Kings Lynn. The Witches 4 points clear after that at the top of the table, having maintained their dominant record at the Adrian Flux Arena, where they're now unbeaten in 8 successive league matches. And Leicester raced to a 55-35 win over Belle Vue to move at the time towards the top 4 of the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. The Lions securing their biggest victory of the season in a meeting which saw the Aces suffer a major blow, with Dan Bewley ruling himself out after a crash in Heat 6. He clipped a falling Max Frick and went into the fence. The visitors then held an 8-point deficit until the final third of the meeting, but the Lions then pulled clear to take match and aggregate points. Let's hear from team boss of the Leicester Lions, Stuart Dixon, with Dave Rowe.
And Stuart, obviously the Dan Bewley crash was unfortunate and did have an effect on the meeting, but again, your team were very convincing at home, 55 points.
It was. I spoke to Dan after the meeting. I think he seemed to talking away. He seemed okay, so I think he said felt fine. But it probably impacted him a bit, you know. But I don't think it takes anything away from us. You know, 20-point win. Probably maybe Dan Bewley, maybe 14, 16-point win, you know, sort of thing. So, but I can only look at it from my point of view. Matt Lemon will be the same from his point of view. For me, plus points look better now. Find the consistency we thought. Craig Cook now getting the hang of the track, which is coming. Gave him heat 15 tonight, you know, tough gate heat 4, but he tried to cut back and Brady Kurtz was already there. Sam Masters good, even though I'm going to say Max had an off night, but we took him out of heat 15 tonight, and when you've got other riders off scope, what I'm trying to say is we've got a good collective feeling about us now. Even Sam Hagan, when they get 3
pay 4.
Again, it's a big swing. You know, it's a 6-point swing. I'm pleased. We have now got a bit of momentum. I think we've had it for the last couple of weeks, in fairness, but you can feel it. There's a wee, you know, people are beginning to buy into what we're doing. I'm pleased. It's good. I think the Dan Bewley thing, yes, but there's some good. I know it was a bit slick tonight. You know, I wasn't 100% happy with the track, but still some good racing and that sort of thing. And boys are pleased, and there's always a kind of good spirit when you're winning, but. We've done what we asked today. We got 3 points, which is very important. But we're still behind Oxford.
1 point behind Oxford with 4 matches in hand.
But they've still got the points on the board. Yeah. Don't be wrong. I'm not upset with what we've got to do. But we've gave ourselves a chance in the previous couple of weeks. When we go to Ipswich, we go to Sheffield, we go to Ipswich. We've got a chance. That's all we've got, a chance. But yes, we've got the ascendancy with us a wee bit now. We just need to keep it going. I know it sounds boring, keep it going.
The team are showing what they can do at home, so now the acid test is to go away to Sheffield and to Kings Lynn and hopefully, from your point of view, get some points on the road. Certainly an aggregate point at Sheffield.
I think, definitely, Sheffield could beat us 54-36. I've no doubt about that, but once you work hard to get something, you need to protect it, and that'll be the message for the away matches coming up. But I think we're in a decent place. Well, I think that's four in a row we've won at home, so I think very convincingly we're getting it. Happy man, but the praise goes to the riders. They're buying into what we're trying to do. Yeah.
And you say buying in. I think it feels like the crowd are also buying in. You've had a good crowd again tonight, and they seem to understand what you've done and that it has started to come together.
It's coming together. You know what I mean? You've always got self-doubt is no one of my biggest things, to be honest with you.
I'm surprised.
I'm quite a confident person, but. yes, it's nice to see it coming off, because I know there was a few raised eyebrows with the changes I made, but everything I do, I always think it's the best for the team. It's never personal, and it still might not be right, but at the moment it looks to be the correct call. But it's about the 7, not just who I brought in. The 7 of them are all working together in there, and it was an easy night for me without being disrespectful. I didn't need to do a team talk and say, right, brother, well, I could talk to them blue in the face. If they're winning races, they don't need me to talk to them before races. They just go and win races. So all the praise goes to them tonight, and thanks to the crowd for backing us again. Hopefully we keep doing what we're doing.
So Stuart Dixon of the Leicester Lions, let's have a look at the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership table after the fixtures on Monday night, and it is still led by the Ipswich Witches at the top of the tree, having ridden 17 meetings on 31 points. The Sheffield Tigers have now caught up on meetings as well. It's 17 ridden for them and 28 points, so that lead of 3 points at the top of the table now for the Ipswich Witches. The Belle Vue Aces in third, having ridden 18 fixtures on 26 points. Oxford Spires have ridden 19 and they're on 20 points. Fifth place, the Leicester Lions. Now, this is where it gets a bit interesting. Leicester Lions have ridden 15, so 4 less than Oxford above them, and they're just 1 point behind Oxford, having got 19 points on the board from their 15 fixtures. Lynn have ridden 14, they have 11, and the Birmingham Brummies have ridden 16 fixtures with 6 points on the board. So that's how the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership table looks ahead of the upcoming fixtures for the next week or so. And looking at the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership itself, the fixtures on Thursday will feature the Ipswich Witches hosting the Lynn Stars in the reverse of that local derby from last week, where Ipswich have a 49-41 lead. Sheffield face Leicester, and Leicester are ahead on aggregate on that one. As we heard there, 53 points to Leicester, 37 for Sheffield. That one's at Ollerton at 7:30. And at Oxford, as we talked about before, it's the Oxford Spires versus the Birmingham Brummies. Oxford very much ahead on aggregate on that one. That was a rain-affected one that was abandoned. 37-23 is the aggregate score at the moment. So those fixtures will be on Thursday, and Birmingham's trip to Oxford will be live on BSN as well. And then looking ahead to next Monday, we've got another busy couple of fixtures in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership, with Belle Vue hosting the Birmingham Brummies at the National Speedway Stadium. And we're still on a round 1 fixture for Lynn. They're still catching up, some of them, and that is against Leicester, the reverse of their fixture. Lynn versus Leicester. Leicester just slightly ahead on that one, 47-42 in favour of Leicester for that one. So that's the fixtures for the next week ahead in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. And we'll be speaking next to a rider who's going to be involved in some of those fixtures. In fact, he's going to be involved in a lot of fixtures, because he's one of the few, if not only, riders riding in all 3 leagues at this moment in time. Luke Killeen of the Oxford Spires, Oxford Cheetahs and Oxford Chargers. He's certainly the only rider doing all 3 leagues with the same team, if you like, at the same home track. Luke Killeen will join us in the next part of No Brakes, No Fear.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome back. I'm Ian Brannan, and in this next section, in fact, for the rest of the podcast, we're chatting to a rider who is pretty busy indeed. Not just racing for his teams in the Cab Direct Championship and in the National League, but also now representing his side in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. Riding in all 3 leagues is Luke Killeen of Oxford. I'll just say Oxford because he's riding for all 3 teams. But certainly busy times for you, Luke. Busy month or 2 on your agenda, and quite a variety of speedway coming your way.
No, it's definitely a busy August. I'm looking at 13 or 14 meetings. I'm just quite fortunate that my brother's going to end up, he lands on the 1st of August. So I'll have a spanner man all month, and a bit of company as well.
And that side of it can be quite full on, the technical side, not just on the meetings, but of course turning your bike around as well. If you've got a run of 3 or 4 meetings on the bounce as you have, then you've got the meeting, you've got to drive the length of the country, you've then got to sort the bike out, and in some respects then drive another 3-4 hours to the meeting as well. So there can be full on days.
Yeah, that's it. And then, when you've got a few days in a row and you're running low on sleep and not able to eat properly, and you've just got to make sure your bikes are, perfect for the next meeting.
And now you've obviously taken on a bit more work because you've moved up to the top tier of Speedway in Oxford in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership, the Oxford Spires. And well, you're in the team now, and hopefully you'll be seeing the rest of the season out because the window for making changes is sort of closing at that 75% of fixtures. So with any luck for Oxford, you'll be in the playoffs, and that'll be giving you a few extra meetings as well. So it could be a busy time for quite a while yet.
Yeah, it'd be nice to finish the season with them. It's going to be busy personally, but hopefully that will make me better and progress a bit faster. And don't know, great opportunity.
And for you personally, you're 19 now, born in 2005, which means that even now you are racing against, no doubt, some riders that you grew up watching, even Australian riders, Chris Holder or Jason Doyle. You've got Rowan Tungate in your team, so it must be slightly surreal now finding yourself lining up and racing against these guys.
Yeah, it's crazy for me to think that, still a teenager without, pumping my own tyres up, still a teenager, and I get to race people that I watched as a kid. It's obviously not at their level, but it's nice to be alongside them at the start line.
So when you're growing up, then obviously looking at these riders in I imagine the 2010s, it's not so long ago really. What was your introduction then? Did you start off pretending to be a speedway rider with, I don't know, a lollipop stick or something in the spokes of your bike? How did it begin?
Yeah, no, we had the push bike with a tin can under my foot. That was the steel shoe. Lived on a cul-de-sac, so it worked well as a speedway track. But no, we started I watched my dad race in 2007 when I was 2, and I fell in love with it from there. So he got us on a little pocket rocket pull start bike when I was 3, and started racing speedway on Pee-wees when I was 5.
So, wow, started when you were 5 years old. And you're from Western Australia, from Perth. A lot of the riders that we know of in Australia, or as Australian riders, tend to come from the other side, from the East Coast, New South Wales and Brisbane and all that kind of side of it. But that's a long way, isn't it? And you forget how big Australia is. It's massive. If you superimpose it onto Europe, it's like Perth would be sort of where Ireland is, and then Sydney probably somewhere, I don't know, like Estonia or something like that. So miles and miles away. So it's a big old place, Australia, to travel around as a speedway rider.
Yeah, it's a long way away. Like, we're lucky enough that we live 20 minutes from the local track, but the next local club that runs speedway consistently is Gilman in Adelaide, so that's 27 hours by car.
Wow.
So it's quite a journey to try and race some away tracks.
And some of the talent that's come from Western Australia, though, people will know, they'll say the lion's share of Australian speedway riders come from that eastern side of the country. But from the West Coast, I mean, in some respects, you would say Ty Woofenden, his dad Rob Woofenden, that's where in Australia he was based, and he is based when he's over there. But some other names, were Glenn Doyle going back a number of years, and your teammate as well, Cameron Heaps. So these are some of the names.
Yeah, it's nice. I don't think there's that many coming from WA at the moment, but I notice there's a couple more popping up. Like I've seen Mitchell McDermott, someone I grew up alongside, he's just made his debut last week in Poland for the under-24 league. But obviously, if you want to count Ty, he's from there. Matt Marsden, Cam Heaps. So, there's a few, and hopefully a few more to come.
And getting over to the UK can be pretty tricky for a lot of Australian riders. So which direction do you come in on that front? Because usually you've got to be a winner or a podium placed rider in a state championships or the Australian championships or something like that, or you have some kind of heritage with UK, so you qualify for a passport on that front. So what was your route into in Britain, considering that you've not really ridden speedway for a massive amount of time?
Yeah, so both my parents are from the UK. My dad's from Manchester and my mum's from Liverpool. So I've gone through that side of things. I got my passport, and I race under a British license. But we didn't grow up overly wealthy, if you know what I mean. So we've had to wait until the time was right before we made the step.
And you made that step really sort of emerging out of COVID and all that after everything had stopped in 2020 and the first part of 2021. But it all happened fairly quickly for you, didn't it? So tell us about your rise from doing the 125s to then finding yourself racing here in the UK.
Yeah, I think the time was right for me. I'd done the 125s in 2020 and I'd done the 250s for 2021. End of 2021, start of 2022, I'd started racing on the 500s, and I think I'd only done 6 meetings up until I came over here. But then there was a big pause with my passport, and I was waiting on that. So I had to sit around until the June, and then I only got a few weeks in racing, and I was, left with a broken ankle. My season was done.
So many ways, coming to the UK, it's really going in at the deep end. You didn't have that many meetings under your belt, and you started in the National League and worked your way up. And for the large part, racing here in the UK has sort of been your education in Speedway as well.
Yeah, I think, last year as well, injury with my wrist, spent 3 months out. And at the time, when I'd come back, I got dropped from the Cheetahs, and I didn't think it was that much of a good thing. But all the extra bike time I got with the guest bookings and, a lot of time up in Edinburgh, it made me a better rider.
And riding those different tracks, that's one of the things, isn't it, about coming to the UK? Such a variety of tracks, from the smaller tight tracks to where you're heading soon, going to Berwick, big, massive track, and you're going to be going very fast there. So you get all the different variety rather than, say, Poland. And I know Jason Doyle's mentioned this. You can't understand why some of the young Aussies are going straight to Poland, because you just learn how to ride flat out. But, that technical skill is an important one.
Yeah, I was quite fortunate enough that my first practice on a 500 was on a 142-metre track. So it's a lot smaller than Plymouth and Edinburgh as well. But it really teaches you to learn how to, turn a bike. And I think that's played a big part with the fact that I don't go so bad around the smaller tracks. That's a big reason why a lot of the riders have come back to the UK over the last couple of years, learning how to turn a bike and throttle control, and the tracks are a lot grippier and, a bigger variety compared to Poland.
And that's one of the reasons, as you say, these riders have come back here. And, Matt Zajanowski, you're now teammate, and, he himself says he's come back here for the challenge at the start of the season. But that said, he has not really had it all his own way either. He's had some tricky times too.
Yeah, I think, to do with the start of his season, you could see it was to do with mechanical problems and things not quite working right. But now he's changed up a little bit and got to grips with it. I think I've noticed he's going a lot better.
And throughout the 3 teams, obviously more recently in the Premiership, but in the Championship, you've got likes of Scott Nichols in there and Cameron Heaps, as you mentioned as well, fellow Western Australian. And also now you're the one maybe giving the advice out in the National League as well. So what have you learnt from your fellow teammates across the 3 teams?
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of the big things that I picked up from them are what changes to make and when to make the changes. Back in Oz, there's not a lot of changes you can make regarding jets and timing and things like that. It's more to do with the sprocket. But over here, I think with jets, weather plays a big part to it. So the weather being consistently hot in Oz during the season, you don't really change things like that.
Yeah, and just to explain that to those who maybe are not sure, that part of a home advantage that a rider has is not just the track, but also knowing when to make those changes. And if a track's consistently prepared, and as Paco Castagna was saying last week, as a track's consistently prepared the same way, then you want to get to this situation where that in Heat 1 this is a setup, your next Heat 4, for example, this is the setup, and as you go through the meeting, you know exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah, where to ride and when to ride there and things like that. But anywhere you go, it's not always going to be the same. So I think another thing is being able to pick it up on the night, and that's what, makes a difference between a good rider and an okay rider.
Yeah, and as you say, you're going to be very busy, and because you're riding in all three leagues, you're hopefully going to be on course to visit, every track in British Speedway, pretty much?
Yeah, that's it, and I know that I won't be able to make Ipswich, but other than that, I think every track will be ticked off the list, and that's something, I've sort of been working towards and trying to ride everywhere. And that's the thing that I know I've got to learn how to ride a big track now and how to sit on the bike properly for those tracks.
Yeah, and so it's all hotting up in the league then, in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. You've ridden the most meetings, so you've got some points on the board, but only 1 point behind you, the Leicester Lions. They've got 4 meetings in hand, and, it is going to be a very tense August indeed. Of course, you'll be looking for Leicester to slip up, and you're obviously going to have a say in that to some extent as well, but it's getting tight at the top.
Yeah, I think, obviously keep a close eye on them, but we've got a few meetings left now ourselves, so we've just got to make the most of them and hopefully, win the rest. That's the plan. We all know we've got to perform now and do well. But a big thing Pete's always said is just enjoy it, because when you're enjoying riding your bike, that's when you're riding at your best.
And you do have a direct say because, you've got a couple of meetings coming up in August. You've got Leicester home and away, which, really, frankly, as it stands, that's pivotal, isn't it, for the playoff places?
Yeah, we've still got home and away against Leicester this year. Obviously, just going to give it our all and hopefully can come away on top.
Luke Killeen of Oxford, all three leagues, the Spires, the Cheetahs and the Chargers with us on No Breaks, No Fear. And coming up in the next part, we'll look a little bit more into the detail of the Cab Direct Championship and the National League happenings as far as the Oxford sides are concerned. Next.
No Breaks, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
I'm Ian Brannan. Our guest this week is Luke Killeen of the Oxford Spires, Cheetahs and Chargers. And it's a busy month for you in August, Luke. You got, I think worked out already, 13 meetings in all three leagues. So it's going to be a busy one. We've talked quite a bit about the Spires, but looking at the Chargers, the Oxford Chargers, riding high at the moment in the Cab Direct Championship, up there. Certainly in the reckoning for the playoffs, looking reasonably comfortable in that top three as it stands. So you must find that, generally speaking, the atmosphere there is a little bit more positive and hopefully looking good for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think we probably stand a better chance there, but it doesn't mean the work's done just yet. We've still got to play our part and give it our all, and hopefully I can do my part too.
We have had some big wins. Maybe one of the biggest, actually, went down to a superheat. Now, the Pool Pirates fans will remind you that it was a draw, but it was actually the extra bonus point and winning the superheat, a big moment against the Pool Pirates when you met them earlier in the season in the championship. So, always good to send the fans home happy, I guess, and that was a big moment for the club.
Yeah, Pool seems to dominate everywhere they go, so it's nice, even though when we went there at the start of the season with the BSN series, it was, a fair win on their behalf. But, at home, at least we've been able to hold our own. And I think, we're doing pretty well.
And it's a tasty little fixture list coming up, actually. Looking at where you're heading, you're at home with the Spires, but as far as the Cheetahs are concerned, that's on Thursday, but you're in action with the Cheetahs at Berwick. But overall, your fixture list takes you from Oxford up to Belle Vue, up to Berwick, then a few days later down to Plymouth, and then to Poole, and then across to King's Lynn, and then Leicester, and then up to Glasgow, back down to King's Lynn. It's all a bit full on really on the travel. You're going to be racking up those miles, Luke.
Yeah, I'm definitely flat out personally, but it should pay off. It should pay off for me. But I'm just hoping that I can do my part. All this travel and bike prep and things like that won't get the better of me. I like Glasgow. I like Plymouth. I like Poole. So, I'm sort of looking forward to this end of the season, and there's a lot of riding coming my way as well, personally. So, I don't know. I'm really excited. I think hopefully I can come on a lot as well.
And I say you're just doing the 3 leagues. I mean, that's a fair amount to do. Are you just doing the 3 leagues in the UK? Are you doing anything in on the continent, racing in the under-24 league in Poland or anything like that?
No, not this season. I was asked to do a practice at the start of the year, but we had a meeting on that day and I haven't heard from them since. So, I think now I'm doing all 3 leagues here. It could be a lot worse. I'm on my own this year. I've had my dad the last couple of years, but this year I'm left to do it all on my own, and it's probably, played out well.
Just turning the attention to the National Development League for just a brief moment. The WSRA National Development League, currently led by the Leicester Lion Cubs. That team back there again, Leicester. They've got 1 meeting in hand. You've ridden 7, they've ridden 6. Oxford Chargers currently in 2nd place in the league. You've still got 1 or 2 meetings for the sides behind you to catch up on, but you must be reasonably happy at this moment in time, keeping tabs with the leaders with still a few meetings to go.
Yeah, I think we've done well so far. We had a tough one at home against the Scunthorpe Sheffield side. A lot of injuries, and some of them are still ongoing. Leicester was always going to be tough away, but, we didn't lose by too many, so that's good. Hopefully we can get that bonus point back at home. And, no, I can see, the Chargers, all the boys, we want it just as much as anyone else, so it's good.
And it's going to be a big one, actually, your next meeting for the Oxford Chargers as you head to the National Speedway Stadium. As I say, you've got a bit of a tour, really, heading to Belle Vue on the Friday, then up to Berwick with the Cheetahs. But big night for the Colts, because the Belle Vue Colts giving an official debut to William Cairns. Now, Will Cairns, people will have seen in action, made his debut scoring 14 points on his first meeting there, and that was actually in a match that you were racing in, and he was racing against you, and that was a fixture that the Chargers ended up losing at home.
No, he did really well there. He guested for us at Redcar as well against the Middlesbrough Tigers, and he's done really good there as well. I think he's ridden a lot of tracks around the UK. I think there's a few more for him to tick off, but he's really strong. The fact that I think he's at reserve, so he has to be one of the strongest reserves in the league.
And he fits into a side that probably is maybe slightly underperformed on maybe some people's expectations. They have Sam Hagan in the side. They've got Freddie Hodder, riders who are familiar with the National Speedway Stadium by now. So it is going to be a tricky place to go with Will Cairns in the side, but you're all experienced enough riders in that Oxford lineup. And you know that whilst it is a big track, it's also a track you're going to have plenty of room to race as well.
Yeah, there's definitely plenty of room on that track. But I think the downside of that is you always have to be in the right spot at the right time, and it's easy to read the people in front of you. So if you're leading from the very beginning and you're just off the racing line, you're in trouble without being aware of it.
And in the National League this year, it is a straight sort of winner takes all, isn't it? It's get to the top of the league table and the prize is yours. There's no playoffs this year, so every meeting's important.
Yeah, no playoffs this year. Highest on the table wins. So hopefully we haven't done too much damage with that meeting at home. But it just, gives us more motive to win the rest of our meetings this year.
And, it is a busy end to the season. Looking at your fixture list, you've got, 17 meetings still to go, thereabouts. I mean, that's a full programme for some people's entire seasons, let alone, August and the start of September. And that's not including, of course, any potential playoff meetings as well. So still plenty to go yet this season for you.
Yeah, it's definitely busy. August itself's busy. I've got one in Germany, in Herxheim, October the 3rd, for the under-19 final. So that's another one to look forward to as well. But no, it's definitely a busy finish of the season.
Yeah, you're certainly one of the busier riders. And looking back at your season, either this one or maybe the end of last one, I'm not sure, but are there any particular victories you're most proud of? You've raced against some of your heroes, your idols across the leagues, but which one of those wins gives you the most satisfaction?
First thing that comes to mind would have to be when Redcar came in the league at the start of the season. I made 4 out of 5 starts that night. I was very proud of that one, and it'd be one of my highest scores in the championship. So so that's good. And possibly away at Sheffield as well when, I didn't realise how hard I was on Chris Holder, but he'd give it back just as hard down the next straight. So I think to be battling with someone who was world champion when I was, just in school, that's quite cool for me.
And while you're on the bike, travelling at 60 miles an hour or whatever, and you're muscling Chris Holder out of the way, do you look across and think, I'm muscling Chris Holder out of the way, or is it just a helmet as far as you can see and then you reflect on it afterwards? Or do you have that brief moment thinking, whoa, this is a bit surreal?
Yeah, I don't... When you're on the start line, everyone's just another rider. It's just a different coloured helmet. But at the end of the race, when you think about what's just happened, sometimes it's a bit cool.
Yeah, and especially when it's, an Aussie legend like Chris Holder, it must be pretty smart.
Yeah, he's not at that GP level like he once was, but no one's up there forever. And he's still going quick, always banging in points in that top league. So that's saying something about him.
Back to the Spires, obviously you're in that team now. You've done a bit of guesting here, there and everywhere, and as a rising star, surely you are the most experienced one sort of left around, or one of them at least. So it's no surprise in many respects that you have been snapped up. And are you surprised that it's taken so long, or have you been offered chances elsewhere?
No, Oxford were the first ones to approach me about it. But, I don't think there's anywhere I'd rather be, considering that I'm there in the other two leagues. And, all three leagues at the one club's quite cool as well.
And coming in at this stage of the season, whatever happens, puts you in the frame for team building next year, doesn't it? As the Rising Star programme will evolve yet further, but being 19, you've still got a few years left in that, and that makes you, obviously, you would rather be at Oxford, but if for whatever reason that doesn't work out, then you surely will be further up the pecking order of experienced riders for when it comes to 2025.
It's a good thing that I'm riding all the time. Lots of experience, lots to learn, and when you're in the pits alongside some of the people in that league, there's a lot of stuff you can pick up as well.
And on a personal note, you obviously came over here to race. You've got British parents, as you mentioned. Have you had any experience of life in Britain so far up to that point, or when you arrived to race, was that all to get used to as well? Moving to a country the other side of the world for the first time and getting used to all the horrendous weather, no doubt.
No, I'd actually first time I was ever over here was the start of 22 season when I was meant to get racing, and it took a while, but I was able to experience a little bit of that British life away from racing before I got racing due to that passport.
And now, where are you based? Are you based around Oxford, I would imagine? You've got three teams there, but so you're living around Oxford?
Yeah, based down in Oxford this year. Quite fortunate to be put up with a family. But it's good. It's only 20 minutes from the track, 20 minutes from the workshop, and it's played out really well this year.
And is it your own workshop, or are you bunking with others? Some riders do that, share a bit of a workshop. What's your situation?
Yeah, I'm sharing a workshop with Senna Summers, one of the Chargers as well. He's down at reserve, but he's living local to here as well this year. So, yeah, really good mate. Same age, same interests. It's played out well.
I think that's a great thing about Oxford, really. With Jamie Courtney being a promoter that knows Speedway, is a life in Speedway, family in Speedway, and understands all the stuff that that you're going through, and all the problems you might have on on a technical point of view, and just the general lifestyle, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, he's more about the rider than a business point of view for him. He's really make sure we're doing it right before he starts criticising what we're doing on track. But obviously, he always wants to win as well. Just talking to him, it sounds like he did a lot of his own stuff at the start. From 15 onwards, by the sounds of things, he was sort of living day to day, just trying to get by so he can keep racing. So he knows it's not easy. He knows it's not glamorous, and I think that he's got a bit more respect for what we do.
And so sitting here now with maybe 6-7 weeks left of the season, maybe more, depending on how it goes. But what are your aims for the remaining weeks of the season then?
I think a big thing is to pick up all the points we can in the Chargers. I really want to do well this season. And, hopefully stand a chance at winning the league back to back. That'd be really nice. But I'd say with the championship side of things, I'd like to score a bit more consistently, make some starts a bit more consistently. And I think probably just up that average a little bit more as well. And then Premiership, I'd say it's more down to starts for me and line choice. But, then again, just start scoring points and ride a bit more consistently.
And that word there, consistency, that is like just a big part of Speedway, isn't it? Being able to do it again and again and again, that and, knowing, having the confidence in your mind that you can do it too. That's what a lot of riders say, a lot of it's in your mind, but also being consistent, and hopefully you can make that start every go.
Yeah, that's it. Like once you've got a bit of fresh air, it's always a bit easier. You can ride your own race rather than, sometimes you end up quicker than someone in front of you and you've got to try and ride around them, and it, can get a bit awkward. But, I think consistency is key.
Okay, well, look, have a good time in August. It's going to be a busy one, Luke. Starting with your fixture on Thursday, 1st of August, the Spires versus the Birmingham Brummies. You can watch how Luke gets on BSN as well for that one. Then it's the Chargers versus Belle Vue, Cheetahs versus Berwick, all one after the other. Following week, you got the Cheetahs against Plymouth, Cheetahs versus Poole, followed by the Spires versus Kings Lynn, Spires versus Leicester. It's all go. Busy time.
Let's hope. That's the plan.
Luke Killeen of Oxford, all three teams. Before we round things up, just a quick look at things in the Cab Direct Championship. We've got to say the performance of the week, Tom Brennan, who had a sensational weekend for the Poole Pirates, 14+1 at home to Scunthorpe in the Cab Direct Knockout Cup. Then at Workington in the league, and he also contributed 9 points on the road in that 46-44 win at his former club Glasgow on Friday. I caught a quick chat with him after the fixture at Workington, reflecting on a perfect weekend for the Poole Pirates as they extend their lead at the top of the Cab Direct Championship.
Winning is always good, and obviously when you're winning, things seem to go a bit smoother too. So no, everybody's working well, and at the end of the day, we can make that long drive a little bit easier now.
And coming to the end of July now, we're heading into this month. It was a big month for you, obviously, with all things considered, particularly Speedway of Nations as well on top of that. It's been a decent July all up, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has really. I mean, we sort of hit a little bit of dip at the beginning, purely because we were, I think a little bit exhausted, really. I think we had a lot of meetings in like a short amount of time, and things sort of catch up. Although I'm very, very prepared, and obviously I have like a great team around me to keep me focused and stuff. I think having that week off with the Speedway Nations, because I was practically the kind of mascot for that meeting, but it was good to kind of
a mascot with a gold medal.
Mascot with a gold medal, but it was good to have a bit of a time off and to kind of regroup and start like eating good and kind of training good again, and now we seem to hit the ground running again, which is good.
And also a change for the Workington Comets since that fixture. They've brought in Paul Stark into the lineup, and that's in place of Selina Liebman, who they wish to convey their gratitude for the season up to now. And incidentally, Selina Liebman actually finished on a high, having won her what turned out to be final race for the Workington Comets, for now at least. But she does come in on quite a high average, 4 points, and it will never get any lower than that, despite whatever she might score. But Paul Stark comes in, and he will be in the Comets lineup from now on. So let's have a look at the fixture picture for the rest of the coming week or so. Cab Direct Championship, well, Tom Brennan's Poole Pirates take on the Glasgow Tigers for part 2 of that clash. 46-44 it is in favour of the Pirates, but of course the Glasgow Tigers will be looking to they'll be looking to exact some revenge, because obviously it went down to a last heat decider at Ashfield, so that'll be an interesting one, and Poole Pirates will be running their own live stream for that one. Thursday, ROWE Motor Oil Premiership, it's Ipswich versus Kings Lynn, Sheffield versus Leicester, and Oxford Spires versus the Birmingham Brummies, and that one will be on BSN. Friday, Cab Direct Championship action from Glasgow, and it's a Scottish derby, Glasgow versus Edinburgh, always a tasty one, 7:30 at Ashfield. Redcar versus Workington at 7:30, and the Scunthorpe Scorpions versus the Plymouth Gladiators. We've got National Development League action, as we mentioned as well, between the Belle Vue Colts and the Oxford Chargers. Starts at 7:30, and Oxford have a 9-point lead on aggregate for that one. We've also got another round of the British Youth Championships prior to the NDL fixture. The NDL fixture gets underway at 7:30, so when you arrive, maybe if you get there early, then they'll be riding that fixture, both the 125cc and 500cc in action in the British Youth Championships. Saturday, August 3rd, Cab Direct Championship action between Berwick and Oxford, 7pm at Shieldfield Park. Plymouth versus Scunthorpe, also at 7, and in the afternoon at Workington, taking on the Redcar Bears, starting at 3. Sunday, 4th of August, we've got the National Development League Individual Series, which takes place at Leicester, starting at 3pm. And then on Monday, August 5th, back to ROWE Motor Oil Premiership action. Belle Vue versus Birmingham at 7:30 at the National Speedway Stadium. Kings Lynn Stars versus the Leicester Lions, starting at 7:30 as well. That fixture also on BSN, Kings Lynn versus Leicester. And that brings you up to date with the week ahead. We'll be back same time next week to look back on all of that and look ahead to another busy week. And on the horizon, we've got the British Grand Prix, of course, coming up in the middle of August. And we'll have build-up in good time for that as well. But certainly it's a busy month of Speedway in August. Enjoy it wherever you're watching it, whether at home or in person. And keep up to date with everything Speedway-related on the official channels, the official website, britishspeedway.co.uk, and on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Keep up to date with everything as and when it happens. We'll catch you next week for another episode of the podcast. Until then, take care. We'll see you then.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Sports Social Podcast Network.